and welcome to another edition.
Special edition.
Special edition.
Of course.
Of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. I am your guest host, Q, and we are here documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs, one digital footprint at a time. And since it is a special edition of Entrepreneurs in Fuego, I have Francisco Aguirre here. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. You know what? This is what I like about you, is that you have a photographic memory, don't you? I mean, did you memorize that thing about the digital footprint and thing?
Yeah, I have to read it. So at first you were spitting it out, and I'm like, you got to say that 15 more times, or we can just write it down.
It took me what, maybe 20 shows before I actually. All right.
Amateurs.
And then to this day, I'm like, all right, and I get all confused and everything else. How you doing?
I'm great.
Thank you.
And so now we're switching places.
Yes.
And it's great for people to know what's on the other side, or who's on the other side of the stools, and to kind of get your perspective on things and get why you do this. So you're a creator of Entrepreneurs in Fuego, right? Mm-hmm. And you have the Office Pile.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Great question. Why? Because there was a need for it. Mm-hmm. And I felt that as an entrepreneur, first of all, the Office Pile. First of all, as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest barriers is to find office space at comfortable prices that really that's not going to choke you,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur. It's not going to tie you down, with a long-term lease, that type of situation. So I started researching co-working spaces and so forth, and that's what I came up with the Office Pile here in Phoenix. At that time, this is about a couple of years ago, there weren't that many co-working spaces around, maybe one or two, and so we started filling that niche. As far as Entrepreneurs in Fuego, I always thought that there is a vacuum here in Phoenix of storytellers, or the stories that are really compelling about entrepreneurs. They have to be told, right? And if I wanted to find out about how to be in social media like you, what your journey has been like, what your challenges are, I didn't have a place where I can go and click and see you tell me with your words what drives you, what scares you, what do you do in your free time, what is your journey as an entrepreneur,
What free time?
Exactly. And
I'm
those
an
are the words.
entrepreneur.
Precisely. And those are the words actually that can be echoed by Taylor Luke.
Yes.
From Financial Potion. You see the commercial that I just
Plug.
Nice. Yes, so that's really
That's why.
Yeah, that's the why.
And how long? Like, how long have you been trying to storytell and fulfill needs in Phoenix?
As far as the storytelling is concerned, the Entrepreneurs in Fuego, it started off about 6 months ago or so. When we started.
Because you and I only met like around Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, around that time.
Yeah.
But Entrepreneurs has been probably around for about 6-7 months. And we've already done about maybe 160 or so interviews with some amazing, some compelling stories. For me, it's very therapeutic. Every Thursday, every Friday, when I sit in front of an entrepreneur, somebody that I'm interviewing, I'm listening to those stories and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm not walking alone. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking this journey alone, because you are going through some hard things and you overcome them. And this other entrepreneur that I interviewed is going through some stuff, and he or she has overcome those obstacles. And so it's like I'm holding somebody else's hand in this journey. So it's really cool.
But what are you looking for? Are you looking for any type of entrepreneur? Or are you just like anyone who starts a business? I want to know their journey.
Which is a great question. I mean, who is an entrepreneur, right? I mean,
What
how do
is
we
an
define
entrepreneur?
what is an entrepreneur? Anybody that is a creative, as far as I am concerned, is an entrepreneur. Anybody that comes up with an idea to disrupt something that is existing or that has never been thought
Or
of
to
before.
fill a need.
Fill a need, right? And that's to me as an entrepreneur. There wasn't a Entrepreneurs in Fuego.
No.
6 months ago. There wasn't anybody that is documenting your journey 6 months ago. And it occurred to us, hey, look, let's start filming these people. Let's start documenting these people. Let's start making this thing exciting so that other entrepreneurs can come in and go, hey, look, I can see these people, face to face, if you will, and hear from the horse's mouth, if you will, what those journeys are all about.
Entrepreneurs and horses.
Yes.
So what you want?
It's a race.
What you're? Oh my gosh, it is.
Yes.
maybe that's why there's always, I'm always going, and entrepreneurs are always going. So
Yep.
what you're really looking for are people in the community
Yes.
who are disruptors, who are solving problems, who are starting the solutions to those problems and want to share their journey.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Or are you going to extract that journey from them?
You have to, and that's a very, very good point, because it
I have
is
good
compelling. Yeah, and it is compelling, and it is so cool to be able to. What's up, Tara? It is so cool to be able to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
It's so really cool to be able to share that story with dozens and dozens and thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of people.
But you
about what
realize
you
that
do.
people don't know all the time. Like, they don't know how they got from point A to point B. They never thought about, this is how I got here. So they come to you and say, oh yeah, Francisco, I'm all about sharing my journey. But
Sure.
it's here in this seat where they almost have that discovery process.
It is very introspective in that respect, but that journey, that thinking, that process, that thought process that we go as entrepreneurs. When you're asking me, how did you come up with this? Why are you doing these crazy things, right?
Is that what I sound
Then
like?
Then it makes us kind of go back inside of us and go, yeah, you know what? I did is because I found that maybe there wasn't anybody else doing it. Maybe I want to disrupt the existing platforms that are being used, how stories are being told. And for me, it's about storytelling. For me, it's about being able to share, and other entrepreneurs to be able to share around this campfire, which we call, the digital view. Exactly. Exactly. Right. To be able to share
Set
stories.
change.
Absolutely. In ancient times, right? How were stories told? How's
Around the
history
fire.
being told? It's around the campfire. You sit around the campfire, you told stories, and then those people who heard those stories maybe embellished those stories, to the other generation, etc. So that's how stories got told until the invention of writing and printing by Gutenberg. Then you start.
History lesson, everyone.
Trust me. Please. And so, and then you start putting things in writing, and now with books and everything else, and you start passing on that story. So that's what's cool. And this is what we're passing along through our digital book.
So, being that I've been here today, first time as your guest host, I had a great time. I appreciate the invite, and I'm honored that you chose me after I haggled you a little bit during our interview. But I've noticed some things.
Yeah.
I've noticed that sitting in this chair, getting to speak to entrepreneurs, I not only discovered that some of them never just sat and thought about, okay, this is how I got here, this was my journey.
Sure.
So a couple have, right? But a lot of them haven't. And then also, because they're entrepreneurs and they're always like thinking ahead, some ideas have been developed, even here today in that seat.
Yes.
They almost discovered, this is my next move, or this is another thought, this is another idea where I can elevate my business. Like they're developing themselves sitting in this chair for just a few minutes.
I remember there was one specific interview a while ago, and we're talking to this lady, and she and her husband had developed this particular business as a storefront in a neighborhood that they weren't familiar with. And they were struggling. This is an entrepreneur who's telling her story. They were struggling about, how to promote their business and everything else. And as we're sitting here, I'm kind of sharing a little bit about, hey, have you thought about maybe engaging the community in this? They had a liquor store.
Yeah.
And this liquor store or sandwich, whatever it was, a liquor store, and it was a dry cleaners or a convenience store, something like that. And I said, look, you are in a community that if you engage them, maybe you throw in a little free barbecue or something like that, people will come and know about
So
you.
this recipe of yours
Yes.
is being used even in what you're doing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, for me, it's like therapy. Every Thursday, every Friday, it's like I'm going to the shrink.
How many episodes have you done?
About 160 thus far.
So I'm going to propose that
You're going to propose?
No.
How indecorous.
It'd look a lot different. So I'm going to propose that we do a recap, and at a certain milestone, whatever we decide, and we do a recap and say, where have these entrepreneurs gone? And we can inspire a new generation of entrepreneurs.
And
in addition to
And that is a great point. I think when we hit a couple of hundred interviews, I think that what we'll probably do is just a very special edition of a recap of the first 200.
But you and I
something
can
like
sit
that.
here and chat about the, the entrepreneurs and almost where are they now? Like, let's go back to the back. We always like to have this conversation.
Yep.
Back to where they were and where they are now.
Yeah, and that is, see, just all these phenomenal ideas. That's why we bring in the young blood.
Young
The
blood.
young blood, man. You're the young blood, man. You're just so amazing, man.
Got all gangster just now.
Of course, man. This is what it's all about. Entrepreneurs are gangsters. Entrepreneurs are disruptors. Entrepreneurs
hustlers.
are hustlers. Entrepreneurs are idealists. They're in some cases more pragmatic than others.
Quirky.
They're doctors. They're quirky. They're engineers. They're Navy engineers, like the people that you.
Do you know what I call them in my business?
What?
Characters.
Nice.
Everybody has their own character. They have their own space. They have their own meme, whatever. They're different.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to embrace.
I like it.
So, thank you. Thank you for sharing your side of it.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
You're gonna invite me back?
Think about it. We'll be in touch. All right. And with that, we're out.
Yes.